And it is Friday Night Live. Friday Night Live. Thanks everyone joining for Friday Night Live. Really appreciate you guys coming along tonight. Thanks very much. Hope you had a good week. It was fucking cold today, so hope you all suck. Fuck you.
You actually threatened to go home.
We've got no, I was just going to go home and get a jumper. I've got a jumper today. We've actually got some interesting stuff here tonight for Bill's old shit. We've got a few interesting new and not so new products have come in.
Lots of optics.
Hi Dean, Neil,
Jason.
Jason Spencer's on. Tan and Errol.
I'm going to keep locking up while Bill's doing old shit.
Oh, really? Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go,
Rob. Everything's right.
Okay. Can you hear us
Everyone?
first? Can anyone hear us?
Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us.
Tonight we've got an interesting piece which you probably wouldn't see every day of the week. It was led to us by an enthusiastic
Old shit lover.
shooter who collects this old stuff. Man after my own heart. But it's a fairly Commonwealth Garden SMLE 303 calibre, of course, and it has some very interesting sights on it. If you'll see, it's got a little attachment that fits on the rear sight bar, which has a lens in it.
Kill that TV.
And it has another attachment that clamps onto the nose cap area, and it has another lens in it. And it's what's known as a Galilean sight. A Galilean optical sight.
Something start with L or some shit.
Oh, you might be thinking of Latty?
It's made by Latty.
Oh, it's made by that.
Yeah, but the type is Galilean, named after that famous astronomer Galileo. Yeah.
Galileo. Isn't he the guy the Pope had an argument with?
Yeah, he was one of the first guys to use optics to astronomy, and he was the one who decided that the only thing that revolved around the Earth was the sun, was the moon, and that everything else revolved around the sun. Got him into a bit of trouble with the Pope at the time, so he had to recant, I believe, and then, of course, he was proven to be correct later on. But what it is, it's a simple system, and there were 3 or 4 systems like this made in England early in the First World War, because the Germans had it over the Brits. The Germans had telescopes with reticles built into the telescope and adjustments. Some of their adjustments were on the mounts were mechanical on the actual mount itself rather than inside the scope, but they were very effective at sniping, and the Brits were getting a fair bit of caning in trench warfare because the Germans outclassed them quite a bit. And this was their first attempt to make a usable sniping rifle with some sort of optics on it. They eventually managed to get a few manufacturers to build telescopes. In fact, their Pattern 18 scope was almost a direct rip-off of one of the German scopes that they'd captured earlier in the war. It was a simple tube type telescope with a, funnily enough, an elliptic lens in the front of the scope, which you rotated to adjust the windage, and a screw adjustment on the top. but that's not what we're talking about today. This is a lattice sight. It filled a gap early in the war to give the British some capacity to snipe, and it uses these two lenses, and the further apart the lenses are, they actually use these on this rifle, the short Lee Enfield, and on the charger loading Lee Enfield, which was a 29-inch barrel version, so therefore you had a wider sight, longer sight radius, and it worked better on the charger loading, because you had the further apart these two lenses were, the better it worked, and it gave a more precise image on the front sight, and I believe a slight magnification on the object that you were looking at as well. But you had to have good eyes. Does it work for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the good thing about it is it could be taken off. Both lenses could be taken off because they only clamp on with little screws and a clamp, and kept safe and put back on the rifle, and there was no change of zero, because they went back in exactly the same place, and you were actually using the original iron sights to a degree as the mounting points.
Not much magnification though, it's like
No.
maybe 1.5.
Yeah, 2.2 maximum was, and that depended on the distance. I think it's probably about 1.5 as it is, and on the charger loading where you had a longer sight radius, they say 2.2.
Yeah, your field of view is fucking shit out, so yeah, like it's like looking through a little piece of tube, like a tiny piece of tube. Mate, like.
That's right. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the pinhole camera, where you have a pinhole in the thing and you can get the image of
the sun.
Uses the same principle. Yeah. So, and it was like the British were scrambling for things.
How many of these things did they issue?
I'm not sure. I don't think it tells me in the text there, but I'm pretty sure there was about 19,000 made of the 4 different models, and one of them actually used a BSA peep sight on the back here and had a lens in the peep sight, and the same idea at the front. These ones you use the front sight as the aiming image. On some of the others, in fact, one of them this lens was offset and had a 4 MOA dot in it, etched onto the glass. 2 of the makes that were made like that had these 4 MOA dots. And of course, at 200 metres, which is about the limit for these, at 200 metres they covered, 4 MOA covered 8 inches. So it was pretty big.
Size of bloke's head.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're aiming at a German skull, the dot covered his complete head. So
How effective were they?
I don't know that they were terribly effective.
Obviously, they brought these into play though, because they were, and you mentioned trench warfare.
Yeah.
I'll turn it off in a sec, sorry. So in a trench warfare, obviously we're held up over here, you're held up over there, none of us can fucking go anywhere. But obviously the Germans were using snipers to snipe back into the
British trenches. Yeah.
So they were giving the touching up the British, and the British said, well, fuck that, and they made this.
Yeah.
How effective was it?
Only marginally effective. From what
So the Germans are still clapping, they're still packing them up, even though they had one of these.
Yeah.
Isn't this a typical fucking British thing to do, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yes. Like, what can we do?
What are they using? They're using optics, they're using telescopes. Well, that's a fucking shit idea. Let's just put lenses on open sights. It's like,
I know, it was all they could do at the time. There were a number of other commercial telescope makers making telescopes, proper scopes that we would recognise today, but they were only in terribly small numbers, and most of them were on hunting rifles, And there's anecdotal evidence that officers would get leave from France, go to England, go around and buy up these hunting rifles with the telescopes on it, and either use them in the calibers that they were in at the time, or take them scopes off and try and adapt them onto a 303 rifle, you know, an SMLE. And that was being done time and time and time again, you know.
Yeah, right.
To try and get some decent equipment into the trenches for the British. One of the things they used to just as much effect was the periscope rifle, you know.
Yeah, the one where the rifle's up here.
Yeah.
You'll hold it down here with mirrors.
Yeah, that's right. Because what it was that the Germans used an armoured plate in front of the spotter. The Germans used a team. They had a spotter and a shooter, like they still use that technique today. Whereas the Brits were using a sniper, and he had to identify his own target, get into a position where he could shoot at the target but be reasonably well protected himself. The Germans had armoured plates with a tiny little vision hole in it, and they could put that up above the trench and see what was happening, and if it got shot, well, you know, oh, there's someone there already, so, you know, move along and go to another position. And there's one of the books I've got has got one of these plates, and bullet splashes all over it. You know, the Brits.
As you would, like if you saw one of them pop up above the trenches opposite, the first thing you do is have a crack at it.
That's right, yeah. But and yeah, some of the holes weren't holes, but they were splashes where it blown material out of this armoured plate. And yeah, so
It's a bit like that scene from the Gallipoli series where the Turks were shooting at our shovels.
Yeah,
just because they could.
Yeah, yeah, but over there, the Aussies were using their shovels as indicators, you know.
Yeah,
You miss.
That's a miss, fellas. Yeah, try again.
Yeah.
So it was.
Depends on when I'm turn that air compressor on.
It was a bit of a stopgap measure, but it gave
Just
them
a little
breathing space to develop other stuff and to pirate equipment from the Germans every time they could. They did. They would pirate the bloody machine guns if they could, and all manner of stuff. And especially any new innovations like telescopes, they would lap them up as fast as they could.
You should make us a periscope rifle sometime. We could take it to the farm.
Yeah.
Take it long range shooting.
Try it out, you reckon?
Yeah.
See how effective it is. Oh, gee, I don't know.
So we've got a tiny little peep at the back here.
Yeah, tiny little.
Whoop. Phone doesn't like being rotated that way.
No.
So we've got a tiny little peep at the back.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually on the ladder, right?
Yeah, it's mounted on the ladder, so you can take these pieces off and then put them back on, and it'll shoot the same. Yeah, because you're virtually using the open sights that are originally on the rifle.
A big one that just goes on the muzzle there.
Great big one at the muzzle. And by the way, folks, these are actually made here in WA and not far from our shop. These are perfect, all but a perfect replica of the original.
Oh, so there's a commercial version out there, because we did have someone asking earlier.
Yeah, and the giveaway is that he's got the screw that holds the clamp on, that clamps this to the front, is an Allen key socketed screw, so they wouldn't have been using that. The Brits, they would have used an old flat-bladed screwdriver to hold that on.
Plus it's also really much nicer condition than you would expect from something that's 110 years old.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, it's all made from brass. Had the lenses have been ground exactly as they should. The rear sight is the same, been made out of brass, and that would have been because they didn't want them to start corroding in the trenches where it was terrible conditions with mud and water.
Yeah, when soldiers are corroding, you don't want your sights to corrode as well.
So, and it's a very nice example. It's on a 1941 Lisco, which it really isn't
Correct.
Contemporary for it. Yeah. So,
nice condition Lithgow though.
Yeah.
Or the wood is anyway.
Yeah, it's been looked after, this one. So, there you go, just something different. And yeah, if you're looking for a set of these, let me know. I'll let the enthusiast know. He's had, I think he's had 20 sets made, so would be a nice little addition to your man cave, where you could show it off. And
listen, son, well, the war effort's taken a bit of a dip. The Germans have got optical telescopic sights. So here, have a rifle with a couple of lenses we stuck on it.
Yeah.
You'll be right. Go out there and see if you can slot you some fucking box heads, you know. There you go. I would have said, fuck your trench warfare. You can stick it up your ass. I'm not sticking my head over the parapet.
Yeah, but most soldiers got shot for saying things like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Get shot anyway then, ain't you?
Australians didn't get shot, funnily enough, but
No.
every other Commonwealth soldier did.
Yeah, one of the reasons they went to these desperate measures with something like this was because of all the head wounds that British soldiers were getting.
Mm.
You know, they only have to have half their head above the parapet and the Germans would have a go. And they were most of the German snipers, funnily enough, were ex-hunters or rangers, wardens of national forest.
Really big culture of it over there still.
And they were good riflemen right from the start. Whereas the Brits at the beginning were just handing these out to
Boys.
supposed marksmen in the unit. You know, you may have been able to hit the target on the range, hit the bullseye, but it's a whole different story, I guess. Running up and down a trench and.
I personally, if I was charged with the if that was presented to me, the Germans are shooting all our boys in the head, the snipers are doing really well, how are we going to combat this? Well, I'm going to build a sniper rifle in 75mm,
Yeah.
and we're going to have a crack at them for an extra 500 metres away, where they can't reach us, you know,
Yeah, well, the Turks did that to Billy Singh when they thought they knew where he was.
Yeah.
Blasted the place with bloody artillery, and he wouldn't be there, of course. And the same dude in the Vietnam War, the bloody NVA would try and target Haskell with artillery when they thought they knew where he was. The same thing, they never got him.
Yeah, but if you can see steel plates sticking up above the bloody
That's right.
the trench in trench warfare, it's pretty obvious where they are.
Yeah. Well, the Aussies were good at just putting the bloody steel helmet on a spade and sticking it up so half the helmet was above you. And
What is that really going to prove, though?
well, it attracts a bit of fire, and if someone can have a periscope up there, see exactly where the fire's coming from.
Gives them some good target practice as well, though.
Yeah, but that's the trouble, I suppose. Yeah, got to get there.
They go, oh, that is 300 metres away. You know, how far away is that? 300 metres. Bang, drilled him in the head. Yeah, it is 300 metres away.
Yeah, well. But the thing that amazed me, or didn't amaze me, but it did to an extent, because I thought the Brits, they did have other scopes that they got, people were making, I can't remember the names now, but then they eventually got the Pattern 18 scope done by the Periscopic Prism Company. But, as I said before, it was almost a complete, perfect rip-off of the German scope that the Germans were using, one of the German scopes that they were using. And you can still see it, funnily enough, in the early Brunos that we got, the Model 1 Brunos, the ones that have got the original Meopta scopes on them. They're almost a kiss and cousin replica of the Pattern 18 scope. And obviously it had German origin. Because I had windage adjustable rear mount.
Yeah.
And just a
elevation
adjustment was just and it was the same. It had a little locking screw, set the elevation and lock it up. No click adjustment.
No. Yeah, but you see that with all sorts of inventions, you know.
Yeah.
Basically, you know, 90% of bolt action rifles nowadays owe their heritage to the Moors 98.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or 93 or 96, how far you want to go back.
Yeah.
You know, but that twin front locking lug action, the way the cocking piece works, the way the magazine works, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Ejector, extractor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the extractor like Rugers and Winchesters with that sort of idea.
Yeah.
You know, 3-position safety, they were that idea, as well as, you know, Kimber and those sorts of guys. But Remington, Winchester, you know, it's all a large rip-off of
That's right.
what they were doing.
In the 20s and 30s, Remington was selling a rifle they called the Model 30.
Yeah.
And all it was a pattern, a P or M17 that had had the ears ground off, and they had put open sights on the barrel, a rear open sight, and
So they got a pattern for it of M17 and made it worse, is what you're saying.
if it was possible. But
You know
they
what?
sold.
This is an unreliable, well, it's not unreliable, that's not fair. But it's a big, heavy piece of shit rifle.
Yeah.
So let's make it less accurate by reducing the sight radius.
Well, that's how accountants work. It wouldn't have been engineers that worked that out. It would have been an accountant that said, "We've got to make this cheaper."
Yeah.
And Remington.
Well, make it commercially attractive.
Yeah. And Remington probably had 100,000 actions left over.
Yeah, they get rid of them somewhere.
Probably wouldn't have that. You know,
Yeah, what about a few?
20,000 left over, so they decided to make use of it.
Easy.
Anyway, that was my little piece today.
Sweet.
Had a few interesting requests recently. Guy wants me to make a bloody...
Oh, did you speak to the guy with the horn?
No, I didn't.
That's right, you'll have to ring him.
Yeah,
I've actually got a bunch of Bill's old rifles on the shelves at the moment. So, you know, keep an eye on Facebook or come into the shop and have a look at them. A couple of 303s.
So 2 today,
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah, they've done well.
They're popular.
Mm.
And these are really nice condition rifles as well.
Yeah, well, the ones I picked out, I've still got a few more out there.
Mm.
I've got a lot more out there. So I'll pick out some nice ones again. I've got quite a few number 4s if people are interested in number 4.
There's a number 4 1T up at the top there, if you can see.
Yeah, that's a nice nick.
Reproduction scope.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to sell tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what comes in for that one?
Nicky Bolton wants to do.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you can spend 10 grand on a real one or two and a half on a replica. It looks the same.
Yeah.
And probably got a nicer optic to it because he's a shooter.
Most likely, yeah.
And we've got a P14 over there and
That's right.
yeah.
Is that a P14?
Yeah.
No, there's a number 4 down there.
There's a number 4 as well.
Oh yeah, P14 next to it.
P14 next to it, yeah.
Depending what your flavour is.
Yeah.
So you guys would have seen a few nice scopes that we've had on the shelf recently. We've had this one, and we've sold not this scope, but dozens of scopes like this with slightly different reticles and whatnot. This is the 2.5 to 20 Night Force, so it's a good scope. But we recently found out that Leupold were dropping their Mark 6, which is this one here. It's a 3 to 18. And to give you an idea, this is already quite a compact scope, the Mark 8, yeah? So when you compare it to a full-size tactical scope like this one.
Well, they call that a Mark 8.
Oh, NX8.
Sorry, NX8.
NX8.
So the Mark 5 is a full-size scope. The NX8 is a relatively compact scope. And then this is the Mark 6 by Leupold, which is a really compact scope. This is a 3 to 18. Which we had come in. So we heard they were getting discontinued and I had 2 left and so we got them. I always wanted one of these for a really compact build that I wanted to do. So these are new on the shelf, so come in and have a play. There's some really cool features. They've actually got the numbers on the parallax on the side here, which I kind of like. So you can, without looking through the scope, you're going to know where your parallax adjustment roughly is. It's got pinch and turn turret, so you've actually got to pinch the top of the turret in to unlock it, to turn it. And then once you let go of it, it's locked, it won't turn, it won't move. Very easily resettable dials. You push the 2 buttons on either side and you can lift up the skirt. I can't do it with my fingers at the moment, but you can lift that skirt up and then it just turns around to wherever you want, push it back down to change your 0 point. And it's got zero stop as well, so it stops at zero. But the other interesting is that it stops every 5 mil. Oh, you can feel it drop in.
Oh, yeah.
And so you know that's 5 mil.
Yeah.
Bang, 10 mil. You don't even have to see the dial and you know where you are, you know. 15 mil. So some really cool features on that one. But yeah, more than anything, I like the compactness of it. Oh, and you can grab the whole rear dial. You don't have to grab the power selector. This whole rear dial turns to change the magnification.
Which means you don't have to have a throw.
Exactly, yeah. It's much easier to grab hold of. Front focal plane. This one's got TMR and the other one's got a Horus reticle in it. So that's really cool. We've had that come in this week. And then we've got the Mark V, the big one. So 5 to 25. Very sought after scope. This one's front focal PR1, which is the new reticle by Loophole that they're doing now. So it's like a TMR style reticle, but it's got a bit more on the reticle itself, so you can do better holdovers and that sort of stuff. So M5C3 dial. So means it's mil, so it's got mil adjustments.
Zero stop.
Yep, so zero stop. So it's actually zero lock. So when it hits back to zero, it locks and you can't move it.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to, you can push the button in and go slightly below zero.
Yeah.
You know, if you have to shoot something that's quite close. And it gives you that little bit of adjustability if you lose your zero. But otherwise, it's a multi-turn turret. So on the second turn, the button disappears. So you lose the button. So you can feel that it's on the second turn.
Yeah.
And then on the third turn, the little knob thing at the top sticks up. So you can feel it on the third turn.
Yeah. The VX3 HDs have that as well, don't they? They've got a zero lock.
The VX3 HDs have got the zero lock, but just the lock on the front. They're only a single turn.
Yeah.
This is a multi-turn.
I mean, you wouldn't want that much adjustment on those.
No, it depends on what you want it to do.
Yeah.
But that's 5 to 25 by 56 front focal. So this is really the top of the line at the moment as far as long-range optics go. This and Night Force and Schmidt & Bender have got all the features that you want in a really good optical quality scope and full lifetime warranty and all that sort of stuff.
Has Schmidt & Bender got the adjustments? You know, range of adjustment?
Yeah. It's up there, not quite as much, because these ones have got 35mm tubes.
Yeah.
So the big Schmidts now have got 34mm tubes, and the Night Force have got 34mm tube. Yeah. It's the Loophole that has the 35, and that gives it about another 8 MOA of adjustment in the tube.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's how the new optics that are on the shelf are going. Right.
We've also got an absolute ton of Freedoms and Zerotechs and...
We've had a heap of Zerotechs come through. I've been waiting on them for a long time. So if you need a really good optic at the moment, now's the time to come past and have a look. We've got everything from right down at your bottom end for rimfires and 22s, you know, the air rifles, 22 magnums, that sort of stuff, all the way through to your big stuff for your tactical style long range shooting and whatnot.
And more eye-aimings.
And eye-aimings. We've had another delivery of eye-aimings, yeah.
And Jason was actually asking for a rundown on those, so how did we go last week?
Trent was the one that was using it, so I'll leave that up to him. When
I wouldn't yet, man. I'm just talk, because this is all kinds of shades.
I'm trying to talk.
This is all shades are fucked up, so.
Well, we can't blame it on Ross, he wasn't here today.
No, don't blame it on you. And I'm trying to fix it, so.
What the fuck did I do?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. So just go. Keep talking.
Yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say fuck all around here and then blame me for the computer being here.
I can say all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. That's the beautiful thing
Doesn't
of
make
being
you right,
me.
though.
Doesn't have to be right. Just have to say it.
You rarely are. Okay. So, CRG ammo. So we've had a bit of this stuff come through. We can't keep it on the shelf because it's got a very good mix of really good components. So they've got scanner L projectiles at a really good price. So these are the 6.5 Creedmoors. They shoot a 136 grain Skinner L OTM, and then these are the 308s. They shoot a what weight is it actually? 175 grain. So the 175 grainer is really good in your 1 in 12, 1 in 11 twist barrels. You get really good stabilisation in that twist rate barrel, and that skin-arm projectile shoots really, really well. The beautiful thing about the skin-arm projectile, it's very well designed, but it's got a tangent ogive, which means that the ogive meets the body of the projectile at no angle. You got a really nice roll on the shoulder, yeah? And that's important, especially in factory ammo, because it's much more likely to shoot very accurately in your rifle than a lot of real high BC projectiles. Real high BC, the hybrids are a bit of an exception, but most of the high BC projectiles, you actually have to play with seating depth a bit to get them to shoot really well in your gun. You don't have to do that with Skinner Ls. So these will work in most people's guns, especially if you've got something like a Seiko or a Tikka. European guns prefer the European ammo, generally speaking.
Do you want to pop one out and have a look?
I could flop it out and give you a look. Only little, but so that's the Skinner L Prodigy,
Yeah.
in 308, and then I've also got one here in 6.5. So lots of people coming in actually tossing up between these two rounds. So you've got the 308 shooting a 175 grainer, 6.5 shooting a 136 grainer. What you'll actually find is that with the 175 grain projectile, these prodigies, this round, depending on your atmospherics, shoots supersonic out to around about 850 metres, 900 metres is sort of where it taps out. And then you start to lose your stability. The 6.5 Creedmoor uses a very similar case. Now it's slightly shorter than the 308, a little bit steeper shoulder, but a little bit less capacity in general in the 6.5 Creedmoor, but because it's only shooting a 136 grain pill, it shoots them much faster. And because 6.5 projectiles, generally speaking, the barrels are faster twist, 1 in 8, which means you can use a longer, higher ballistic coefficient projectile. This cartridge is actually supersonic out to more like 1200 metres. So you actually get a considerable increase in range going to a 6.5 over a 308. So why would you go 308? Well, you'd go 308 if you needed the terminal performance, if you're shooting bigger animals and you need good terminal ballistics. When you actually hit the animal, you need a lot more energy transfer, and that you can get that out of 308 over a 6.5. So in that respect, 308 is also very good as far as it's very versatile. The 308 you can load a 130 grainer if you want to and go after all your little light skinned, foxes and that sort of stuff. Or you can shoot like a 200 grainer and go after like a Hornady ELDX or something like that and go after your big game and anything in between. Yeah, and you got ballistic tips, which are really versatile projectile. You've got your AccuBonds, which are a bit harder hitting. Versatile, but they were actually voted, I think it was Guns and Game, gave them the most versatile projectile for planes game in the world. So they've won some awards on the AccuBonds, a really good project. Whereas 6.5, you're a little bit limited. You sort of 100 is really the lightest you can get, 140 is really at the top end, and a 6.5. You can get heavier, like 147s and stuff, but you start to lose velocity, and so you start to get a depreciating return. So yeah, so there's Seiko TRG ammo. If you see it on the shelf, grab it because it never hangs around, yeah?
Ridiculously good seller.
308.
I do actually have some more coming, but it won't hang around.
Well, you've always got more coming. But
Yeah, won't hang around for long.
Zerotex. What Zerotex have we got?
Mainly Thrives.
Oh, I think they're all Thrives.
What's a Thrive?
Their mid-range stuff.
So
Mid-range.
Yeah.
Not their bottom end stuff, but not their top end stuff. Is that what you're
That's
saying?
it. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I've got 2 Thrives. I quite like the 3 to 9 I've been using. See, we've got 3 to 9 by 40, we've got 3 to 12 by 44. Oh, we've got 4 to 16 by 50.
Yeah, I think there's one or there, a quarter, 2 of them.
Yeah. But they don't hang around very long either.
Nah, not at the price range anyway.
Oh, we've got a Thrive HD as well, 6 to 24.
Yep. That's a HD though, isn't it?
Yeah, Thrive HD.
Yeah.
16's a really good magnification. for most of what we do in WA, yeah? So it's enough grunt to shoot foxes and that sort of stuff, because you're shooting a small animal. Generally, if they're a bit further away, you need to blow them up a bit bigger, so 16 power is handy. With the 50mm front lens, still gives you a 3mm exit pupil, so you can get enough light through that you can see your image. Once you start going over 16 on a 50mm front lens, your exit pupil is getting, 2.5mm, and you're really starting to suffer on the amount of light that comes through the scope. Especially for, there's nothing wrong with your Filipino, your Asian made scopes, especially Zero Tech, because they still give them a lifetime warranty, but they don't have the optics quality of something German or American or Japanese. You do see that suffer at night, and you don't get as clear an image. You often have to crank the power back to bring the brightness back in your image.
I'm just going to get the big...
Alright,
Chris, they're $65 a packet, mate.
is it 65? 63?
63 for the 6.5.
65 on the 308, and that's the first one.
I think
Calm down, guys.
What was this checking?
I think we've got a 4 to 16 on that CZ behind you, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why is this here? This was here last night.
Yeah, I thought it was going to pick it up yesterday.
Yeah, I was trying to get the guy to come down and pick it up today.
You thought putting it out the front here like trawling him in here.
Yeah. I thought it might remind me to call him.
4 to 16.
Mil dot reticle, but it's got MOA adjustment.
Yeah, that's typical for Yanks though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, are these guys going to do a mil adjustment? Like mil reticle, mil adjustment? That you know?
Where?
Oh, that's right. You didn't tighten the fucking rings up.
Well, he hasn't come down.
Yeah, I know.
Fitted it for him.
I know your reason for doing it.
Well, then shut up. Stop whinging.
Well, it's just you go to do anything with this and it moves. I don't know what's going on. Is this cheap piece adjustable?
Should be.
Looks like it should be.
Because the scope's just a little bit higher, that's all. For me. I mean, if there's someone out there with a fatter face than me. There's a floating barrel on this as well.
It's
So
a
what model CZ is it?
457.
Yeah, 457 what?
LRP.
Okay.
It's a nice feeling stock, isn't it?
Well, the model is the 457.
Yeah, pistol grip, it looks good. Rubberized finish.
They got a different trigger in them nowadays. So the trigger that they had for 50 fucking years and what.
Yeah. I reckon he's going to be real happy with that.
Oh, cool. So you don't have to use... So the problem with the old model was that you had to pull the trigger to get the bolt out, yeah? The problem with that is that you can't put a stop on the trigger, so when it goes off, bang, there's nothing there, you haven't got any... There's no feel left on the trigger. It's very hard to follow through well on a trigger that doesn't have a stop on it. Now, the stop is on the side of the action, like most guns like Amschutzes and that sort of stuff. And so there's a separate bolt stop. You don't have to pull the trigger. Means you can have a stop on the trigger, which means the trigger feels much better. So it's a bit heavier than what I like, but it stops crisp. Like it breaks and stops. I like that. Does that come with that bolt up?
Yeah.
Yep, that's how it comes.
Totally not gay.
They seem to be on the rage. Alright, shut up.
Oh, we're about to pack up, mate.
Oh, good, I hope so.
You don't want to talk to our clients, you don't want to talk to people.
I've been talking to them all week.
Yeah, I really.
Yeah, just a little bit. Only some of yous. Daniel Gore. No, we don't have any GSG accessories on in the shop. Could probably get you what you wanted, but you don't know. 7 rounder.
So you would remember back in the day when the Adlers first came in and they were getting advertised as a 7-round lever action shotgun, and then they got banned, and the Bravisios, you can import them but they can only have a 5-shot mag. And then Lisa Harvey, one of the last things she did while she was in office was ban the lever action shotguns with a magazine bigger than 5, which was pointless because they weren't coming in like that anyway. And then And so that all went through, and then you could have straight ball shotguns, and guys like Adler and everyone started producing straight ball shotguns. We were doing it first though, so we're the OG. Fucking,
we were the original Turkish shotgun manufacturer.
And and we were making magazine extensions for them. And now Adler finally come to the party and they're producing theirs, and you can buy it with a magazine extension. We spoke about this a couple of months ago, but they're all coming through now like this. So now you can't have your lever action 7-shot, but from the factory they're coming straight ball 7-shot. So, and if you've got a 28-inch barrel, well then we can fit a 10-inch shotgun, a 10 round.
What are you stuck on 10-inch for? 10-inch black extension.
Yeah, you can have a big black 10-inch magazine.
Optional suction cap for shower use.
Yes, that's it.
And we got all weathers on the
Should we make a thing that you get rid of that front sling swivel and have a set of truck nuts on there?
Yeah, they just hang there. It's a front grip.
We've got all weathers on the shelf as well.
Yeah, we got the all weathers as well. Only a couple, but they're there. Oh shit, looks like we've only got one.
Yep. And a little MT204 410.
Yeah, the little MT 204s, they're actually a cool little shotgun there. It's just a single barrel hammer shotgun. You break them open. They actually fold all the way in half.
Yeah.
They're a cool little shotgun.
And under $300. Like,
yep. Well under 300.
So what you do if you want one is you fold it around, you draw a line on it, and I'll cut the barrel down to the end of the stock for you. So that way the barrel and the stock are the same length.
As long as it's within the requirements that we're allowed to.
Yeah, so it can't be any shorter than 400 mil. Yeah. Unless if it's shorter than 400 mil, it can be, as long as the overall length of the gun's more than 750.
Are they any good for cats? No, cats do not like them. They're not good for cats at all.
I wouldn't buy one for a cat, no.
No, cats don't have opposable thumbs, so they're really hard to shoot and cock the hammer. So I'd get them a different type of gun.
Yeah.
Cats should be pretty good with the Savage A22 though, because they don't need to grip anything. So they just slap away at that front trigger release, or bolt release. I hope that answered your question, Macropod. Finally got him back.
This thing's a lot brand new, isn't it?
It is so nice.
It's a nice little setup.
You want to talk about it? You probably know more about this than me.
No, I've got no idea about it.
You wrote the tag, so you know more about it than me.
Okay, I wrote the tag on this Ruger 77.
So it's a Ruger 77 that you've got going second hand.
It's 308 second hand. I actually don't know a lot about it, to be honest. I couldn't tell you how many rounds have been through it. I couldn't tell you who owned it before us, whether it was owned by the Pope or Zaine. Wasn't us.
Wasn't me.
But it is like brand new. It's got a couple little marks on the barrel up the top here, which is nothing.
I'm not going to sandblast it out. You can get
no, comes with rings, $850.
880, I think it was.
880. If you give me 850, I'll take it. And
$120 worth of rings on there.
Yeah.
Is there 30 mil rings looking at it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Comes with them.
It's an M77 Hawkeye, like it's not a Ruger American, it's a nice gun.
It's a proper It's a proper gun. It's not an American. Sorry for all the American owners out there. So get in and get that before it disappears, because I don't reckon that will last tomorrow.
It's in 308.
Yeah. You can tell that by the hole in the barrel.
Seiko TRG ammo will shoot really well through
it. Segway. You know what else will go really nice on this? A 30mm scope. Something.
We have
Zaine. Oh my god.
This is the NX8. Why would you put a fucking NX8 on a Ruger?
Because we've got the rings for it.
Yeah. The kind of person that would buy that, $880. You reckon they're going to spend fucking $3,100 on a scope?
I reckon they would.
Well, I suppose if all the money that you're saving on your Ruger, $880.
Because our clients are high end. They like spending.
Because that's a $2,000 rifle, so you should put a $2,000 scope on it. But you're only spending $880 on the rifle. Minimum. You can afford to spend $3,000 on the scope.
That's
or
right.
if you want to go a little bit less expensive,
well, you sold that 3-9 today, didn't you?
there's a 3-9 with a 30mm tube.
Oh yeah, with the finder.
Yeah.
Beautiful. 30mm tube.
That'll be right there, right?
Actually, that'd be mint pig gun.
That would be good.
So it's a threaded 9 loopy, as you would have seen and loved from in the past. But this threaded 9 loopy's got a 30mm tube. Why has it got a 30mm tube? Because it's illuminated. They needed that to get the illumination to it. So it's 5 dot illumination. You push the button on the side. The little dot comes on in the middle. Doesn't light the whole reticle up, so it doesn't flare up and you can't see any shit behind it. You just push it once, and the dot comes on. And you put the dot on what you're shooting, and you pull the trigger, and it falls over. So.
Or any of our Zerotechs. I'm pretty sure they're all 30mm.
But bargain. If you buy that and put it on that, I'll do this at a better price for you. What is it? $8.95.
Yeah. So,
I'll do it for $800. Sorry.
if we do this,
What are you doing?
I reckon we should go to the farm and see if we can shoot backwards.
That's retarded. Don't video your video. That'll make like a vortex.
That's
like
paradox.
A paradox.
Yeah.
You'll end up in a different fucking dimension if you do that.
Oh wow! Might get. Wait, what's that guy's name? Doctor Who?
Who?
Doctor Who?
Who?
Who? You? Not you? Who?
Who, me?
Not me. You.
Yeah, it's not actually that funny.
We had another room.
Yeah. We've got a paddle stock Ruger out there as well in 243, and that's a collector's item. It's got to go for at least $3 or $4 grand. I reckon. No, we've got to put a lot through it.
I'm not joking. If you jump on used guns, there is a paddle Ruger 2250 in Queensland going for $2 grand.
Fucking hell.
Tell him he's dreaming.
Yeah,
What an idiot.
Straight to the
Fucking laugh.
pool room.
Straight to the pool room with that paddle stock Ruger. Aren't they an awesome setup?
No, they're shit.
You know what I'd rather buy? Anything.
You know what the paddle stock,
Buy that
when
one.
like people think that it's like some sort of title, like people called them paddle stock Rugers because they felt like shit, like
Yeah.
because
they're
like
like an all
paddle, like fucking.
Because they're learning.
Like it's not something to
Because if you ever
you
went
hang your hat
canoeing,
on, you know, like.
you just use that.
If you're stuck up shit creek without a paddle, well, as long as you got your Ruger, you'll be
Right,
right.
you're fine, that's it.
Oh, you got your
What else we got
room.
floating around?
I don't know.
It can't have been too bad. They sold tens of thousands.
You got a heap of 7.5s. You want to get rid of some of them?
Yeah, we've got heaps of 7.5s. So,
Those are a bit hard to come by.
yeah, they are hard to come by. I've also got a heap of orange clays, so don't be afraid to get in and get them. Winchester Super Target. What?
Why would someone be afraid of that? They got like orange clay phobia.
Has anybody else got a job? Like anyone?
Anyone good?
Like, I'm pretty good with shit. I can drive trucks. Like,
Make bombs.
I can make bomb. Yeah, I can do that stuff. Pretty good with guns. Talk to people rather well. Fairly versed in the English language. Surely there's someone out there that'll employ me instead of that idiot. Like anyone. It's like herding cats.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we've got 7.5 Winchester Super Targets. Are they the 1250s or the 1150s? I can't remember off the top of my head.
1150, I thought, but I don't really know.
Second ones. We are doing the slab for $140 or the packet for $16. So get out, buy yourself a slab, bring your license, get yourself a packet of clothes, go out and have some fun. Spread the yellow or orange, whatever colour it is, all over the paddock. It's great.
It's good shit.
Yeah, there's that paddle stock one. See how shiny it is?
They were shiny. Like the Hawkeyes, they started sandblasting them, which I reckon was bad.
Magnified, do I make bombs? I haven't,
No.
but I'm pretty certain I can find some hose.
I mean, he lives in Midland, so...
I live in Midlands.
Close enough.
I just traversed it.
And he wind up your windows.
Yeah. Like herding cat. I prefer shooting cats. Yeah. Well, that would work as well. Bang, you missed. Oh, shit shot.
Yeah.
What else did we do today? Oh, well, I got the awesome job today of putting a TAC-21 chassis onto a ticker. If any of you guys at home want to put a TAC-21 on anything,
We should have videoed
you can
it,
go
actually.
get
It was
fucked.
fucking hilarious.
It wasn't
We
funny.
could have gone Trent's instructional guide to fitting a
It's
TAC-21
not good.
chassis. It's only 3.5 hours long.
It sucked. And it had nothing to do with me or my...
Fucking everything to do.
All my
I
friends.
can't get this trigger in.
I couldn't.
He literally turned around for 2 seconds, turned back, and I had it in.
Because you got lucky once.
Lucky.
Once. Ultimately, you could have been out the back doing your own job. No, you were standing there watching me fail. Fucking up my computer system.
Where's the gun?
It's with Nick.
Exactly. Because of me, not because of you.
No,
He wouldn't have been able to take it home tonight.
He would have
left it up to you.
No, because I would have hit it with a hammer until
Giving it to him in a box.
His trigger would have worked.
Giving it to him in
But he would have
bags.
he still would have had it. If that was the ultimate bit of success, is whether he had it or not, he still would have had it. He would have picked it up from the car park when I fucking turfed it out the front door.
This trigger hasn't been touched since this thing was new.
As now.
I actually really like it. I actually really like the feel of this gun in general. I hate this stock. It's a piece of shit.
No comment on 6.5 Creedmoor versus 308 or 300 Blackout. Why would you get a 300 Blackout?
Different. Why would you compare those three colours?
Yeah.
Why would you get a Blackout?
Because we've got one on the shelf.
Oh yeah, don't forget it. No, I've got a Blackout on the shelf. Come on, buy that. It's great calibre.
So they're completely different. Like 6.5 Creedmoor is really a long-range precision sort of cartridge for people who too wussy to shoot 300 with mags.
Peter wants us to.
308's a good all-purpose hunting calibre with very large bullet underbore calibre. They work in shorter barrels. It's just a good all-round calibre. 300 Blackout's a very specialty calibre, low recoil, really made for shooting subsonic rounds. And that's about it. Like, they're completely different.
Yeah.
Like 300 Blackout's just a short range little.
Peter said, "Come on, show a seriously over the top rifle. Maybe the dearest rifle that I can't afford." So this is the Ruger paddle.
Is Scoops on?
I think so.
He was.
Wait, I'm waiting for you to say, waiting for Scoops to say something fucking sarcastic. That's all.
Oh, he's probably, yeah. He's old. He's probably thinking of something.
Say something. Show us something expensive. What?
What's seriously over the top? We don't really have anything seriously over the top at the moment.
We have things that are just right.
Yeah,
What
everything.
do you mean for shit for sale, or
I don't know. Just
pull out something of Bill's and bloody?
we'll put out some of yours, but yours are all in baggies.
My 375, isn't it?
Yeah, it isn't. It's disappointing actually.
I mean, that one in the middle's a bit over the top.
My 300
but
Ruger Compact Magnum's not.
But that's not over the top. That's quite a nice.
yeah.
People don't look at that and go, "Oh fuck."
And people might look at the one in the middle there and think that, but
I think that every day I see it.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Scoops is probably wiped out by now. I reckon back in the pod.
yeah,
Yeah, he would have been falling asleep. I reckon he does that on the fire. It's crack up.
he does, doesn't he? He
Yeah.
crashes really early. Isn't it funny though? You go out to the farm and it's like, oh, I am fingered. You know, you have a beer, you sit down, you have something to eat, you stare at the fire for bloody 5 minutes and you go to sleep. You wake up and go, fuck, I better go to bed. Look at your watch and it's like 7:45.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's just after supper out.
yeah.
Any updates on a 300 Win Mag from Lithgow? Weren't you talking with them
Yeah.
over something?
No, we weren't talking to Lithgow, and I don't think it's something that you're going to see in the short term.
Yeah, they never said that they were going to do one.
And we've
When-
never spoken to them about it.
Well,
We do our 300 Win mags on a Lithgow,
Yeah.
so we get the Lithgows and convert them to 300 Win mags.
they did talk to us after they found out that we'd done one, but
Yeah.
it wasn't to like be in production or anything like that.
No.
It was more of a
They sent us a gun to do R&D on, and we've actually done something with it. I'm going to try and find the contact details of the guy at ADI that actually contacted us and sent us the gun, because I'd have to go sifting back through all my records and stuff. But that's really interesting. But I'm not allowed to talk to you people about that.
It's not.
It's interesting. I'm not saying it's cool,
But kind
isn't
of.
it?
Well,
It's funky.
It's a bit of a niche
it's-
market.
It's like a it's
it's
like rooting a fat chick. Like it's really good fun,
No, you can't throw that out there.
but you wouldn't tell your mates about it.
No,
You
you
know,
can't, you
like-
can't say that on TV
Why?
because there's women that watch.
So
What if they identify as a fat chick?
then just don't identify as a fat chick, and you're right.
Are you homeless?
You can do
Just
that.
buy a house.
Just buy a house.
Yeah, so no, we haven't spoken to Lithgow.
Yeah, you'd have to ask Lithgow, but I don't think they've got plans for anything in the short term because there's no market for it.
Yeah, pretty much. And they'd have to retool and change up and do all that. And they're selling heaps of warmers in short action and even more in LA 102s. So why change what's working for them?
The only thing is that the tickers do use the Lithgos use a ticker mag, yeah, ticker style mag, and because of that, it's a long action gun, but they just use short action mags in, which is why we convert them to take long action calibers, and that opens things right up. That's why we do the 300 mag. What I really want is I want a client to come to me and say, "Can you build a 300 PRC, or can you build a, you know, I don't know, something interesting. 28 knot, no, that's bad.
Oh, no, you can't have that.
26 Nosler.
Well, you probably can't have that soon anyway.
7mm round mag.
How about a 300 RCM?
No.
No, you wouldn't want to. Who'd want one of them?
No.
Not even Dave wants that one.
You know, but there's a lot of other options available with the Lithgo. They make Lithgos in 203?
Yeah.
So we could make one in 6mm punchy.
What about that 300 you did that went back to Queensland?
Yeah, that was Lithgo that I converted to 300 mag and then did the bolt face extractor, all that sort of stuff.
It was an LA 102.
LA 102, yeah. Put a carbon fibre barrel in it, so carbon fibre wrapped IBI barrel, and then it went into a carbon fibre stock, so it weighed nothing, yeah.
But Lithgo must have supplied a bare action.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because that was from another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a deal that we didn't organise. I don't know anything about really.
We just had to.
But yeah, Lithgo supplied us it wasn't just a bare action. It was a completely stripped action that didn't have any main screw holes in it or anything. Didn't even have Lithgo engraved on it.
Yeah.
All it had was a serial number.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So it was a virgin action.
There you go. Oh, I didn't realise that. Yeah, I remember now because we had to drill and thread the action screws and everything, didn't we? Yeah.
What's this week?
Peter, how expensive a PRC would you build? Well,
What do you mean how expensive?
you could build a really expensive one, or you could build one that wasn't. The idea behind it.
PRCs are really a high performance caliber that you don't have to spend a lot of money on.
No, you could get, if you wanted to use it for hunting, you could use a very, very basic rifle setup and not spend a lot of money at all. If you wanted to go for something, out of this world and get something, looking like that, that's a chassis or a Macmillan stock, you could spend 5, 6, 7, 10 grand. It depends on.
Well, what's a Lithgo going for now? Retail.
About 1,600 to 1,800 bucks, something like that.
Yeah, so like $2,800, you get a PRC and a Lithgo, 300 PRC, factory rifle. And now we've got factory brass. You didn't talk about that, did you?
No,
Go and get one.
that's all over there.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I got Lupua 300 PRC brass there. So
Loophole.
yeah, Lupua, yeah. Lupua.
So while you can't buy factory ammunition and 300 PRC easily, like there's not many people got it on the shelf, I think quantity would probably make it. Like, you probably get it.
I think Federal's doing it as well.
There's nothing available.
Yeah, but we've got 300 PRC Lepore brass. So if you want, to start off doing reloads with really good quality components, this sort of stuff is available.
Which you should anyway.
The only downside, I'd consider spending an extra couple $100 though and getting us to put a new barrel in it in 1 in 8 though, so you can shoot the 230 grainers and that sort of stuff. Why are we doing this?
I only did one. This is a U. Look at that, perfect. Cake it over a little bit.
What head size are they? 534.
532, yeah. So, same as 300 mag?
Yeah.
No belt.
Yeah.
I think they're slightly shorter than 300 mag though.
Oh, yeah.
To the shoulder,
Yeah, tiny little bit.
Yeah. And that
But they're a
way
little bit fatter.
you can get more in the mag. You can be on 5LC projects.
And they hold more powder than the 300 mag.
Yeah.
Yep, they're a tiny bit fatter.
Yeah, bit so.
Yeah, the walls are a little bit straighter. Holds a little bit more. Shoulders are a little bit steeper.
So they won't feed through a magazine.
If you get the right projectile.
No, well, it It was a very well, like it wasn't one of those actly improved designs. It was it hasn't got a silly amount of taper on it. You know, it's a normal tapered project with a 30-degree shoulder. Like it's that good balance.
Which is really sad because the 6.5 PRC is just a waste.
What?
It's gonna be. I don't know anybody that's gonna go to it.
So that's what I would shoot through. Like if you had a PRC built, I'd get a 1-in-8 twist barrel in it, specifically for shooting those produce. That's a 30 cal, 230 grain A-tip, which has got a monster BC. So the G1 BC is 0.823, the G7 is 0.414, so it's very high BC.
Yeah,
and the produce come with a bag.
and they're consecutive.
What do you mean?
As they come off the line,
Yeah.
each produce is put in consecutive order.
You're not allowed to mix them up.
Because then you can have a bullet with your number on.
That's it. Yeah, so 300 PRC is licensable in WA at this point. So yeah, we're getting quite a few through. That's the new sort of go-to. So
Well, it's the highest, like it's the most ballistically capable cartridge that the police aren't going to give the shits about.
if you already had a 300 Win Mag, would you update to a 300 PRC or not enough benefit?
It depends on whether there is a benefit to it.
Yeah.
Depends on whether you want to spend the extra money, 400 and something bucks getting it rechambered, new dies, new cases, relicense. That's up to you, But you're going to spend, if you've got a 300 Win Mag now, you wouldn't get much change out of $600-700 bucks converting it to a PRC, plus the license, $800.
And you only have a 1-in-10 twist barrel.
Yeah, that's right.
You can put a new barrel on it. Yeah. So, kind of, but you'd have to weigh it up for yourself.
There's an advantage to it, but is there $800 worth of advantage to it?
Either that or you get rid of your 300 Win Mag and you buy yourself a PRC and do it that way. But
yeah, just wear the barrel out on your 300 Win Mag and then sell it on used guns and say it's brand new.
that's it. Good condition.
Yeah. Buy less than 100 rounds. You guys would have seen the tunable, the self-timing muzzle brakes that we've had in the past.
So we've had these out for a little while now.
Yeah, we sold out for a while there, and I made a few more. So you would have these ones. They screw on the 5/8/24 thread. So if you've got a 5/8/24 thread on your gun, it'll go on there. It'll screw on. If it doesn't time up, you use the nut on the back here, which is on the left-hand thread, to screw up against the shoulder, and then you lock it up, and then it stays there forever. And you can take it off. But you can time it up yourself at home, is the beauty of that. So I can just send this to you in the mail. You got it yourself. You can tell me what colour you need it. So we got these again. We've actually sent a few of these to America for a competition that's over there that we're sponsoring some prizes for. The Big Sky event over in
Well, that's
Colorado?
where
Colorado.
It was Colorado.
Minnesota.
And their range, like their Boone and
America,
Crockett Club or whatever it is, they bought a big piece of land specifically for hunting and shooting and that sort of stuff, and it's on the edge of the mountain range over there.
Well, I always thought that Big Sky Country was Montana.
I think it is Montana or something like that.
Let's just say it's in America.
It's the base of a mountain anyway, and it looks stunning. Like the photos and everything from it look absolutely beautiful.
One of those parts of the world that's just, well,
But
Names
that's
it.
where Brian Litz and his crew are going. We're going to.
Yeah. Yeah, they go to all those events and whatnot.
Bring their truck with computers in it.
Yeah, and the radar and checking.
That's something else we played with last weekend at the long range course. I don't know if you guys saw. We had another play with a lab radar.
Yeah.
I got a bit of footage of you guys using it, so.
You got to, I didn't, but that's all right.
What was it?
Lab radar.
Who's got that?
Matt.
Matt.
Matty.
Yeah.
Ah,
So he's got one of the big flash annealing machines
yeah.
that uses the induction to anneal your cases.
Yeah.
And he's got the lab radar. So he's really putting the investments into his shooting.
Oh,
So it's good to see. And he's getting the results out of it. He's getting really good long range performance out of his guns. We've got one of his guns here that we're going to shorten the barrel on, and we'll maybe put a thinner barrel.
Reprofile the barrel.
Yeah, because I don't think I've got a 108 barrel there. So
Well, at least they're easy to go through now that they're all on the ground.
Yeah, well.
So our second-hand barrel shelf decided to let go about 4:30 this
They're not
afternoon.
second-hand barrels, they're fuck barrels. It's
No,
a shelf of shit.
They're second-hand.
They're shit.
They're not for sale, they're second-hand.
They're not for sale because we're going to make a chair out of them, like a Game of Thrones chair. They made them out of swords, we're going to make them out of barrels.
It's just wee business.
Yeah, what's this weird business?
I mean, Bill.
How did you find the eye aiming?
It was fucking heavy. I'll give you that, right?
They are
off the
heavy.
back of that ute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're what, 700 and a bit grams?
Yeah, so it was on a heavy rifle too. Apart from that, no, it was really good. Very, very easy to use. Very.
What?
What's going on with this?
It's going to go into storage, but just throw it into repairs guys coming tomorrow or maybe Monday. So very, very easy to use. In that, it's only got the one button, the on-off button, and then the dial button on the side. Very easy to get through the menu. Very easy to go through your magnification range. It is actually really, really easy to pick up what it's trying to tell you. So when I was looking through it, you could tell where the sheep were. You could tell what they were, even at, so I don't want to say extended distances, but at distances further than what your spotlight would give you. I found that it was fairly easy to tell that they were sheep. We did find that bird. One of the big things that sort of caught my eye was when I was on the back of the ute using it, looking around. Dave and Zaine were in the front of the ute looking on their phone, and they were trying to point out that they'd seen a heat signature, which I couldn't find again, but they were saying it was roughly at 11 o'clock or whatever it was. So I was having a look over there and I couldn't see it again, but I'd actually changed position on the back of the ute. And what they were looking for, what they actually seen, was the campfire that the guys had about 250 metres away. So the fact that they'd picked up that heat signature from that was, I thought, was pretty cool once we figured out what it was.
And of course, the other thing that caught your eye was that low-hanging branch that Zaine drove into.
Yeah, so after, I don't know if you guys were still alive at that particular point, but on the way home, or back to the camp, Zaine decided that he was going to hit a ditch, which nobody was really prepared for, especially us in the back, that were also sitting on the firefighter unit and had nowhere to go. And then he tried to wipe me out with a low-hanging branch, which I got to walk, wear quite well in the rib cage and then break it off or get pushed off the back of the ute. So, yeah, hilarious times. And thanks for all your sympathy about that. I did enjoy the bruise that I got from it. And I can see all the laughs coming through right now. So,
But there's some good footage coming from that night, so we'll let's bring out more stuff.
We were a little bit disappointed that we couldn't find any foxes or anything for you, but,
Well, we've got a 612 here now, so we could take that next time.
Yeah, well, the 612 is the big girl, so definitely give that a try. Now, I am still running that offer. 2 people have already taken us up on it, though. So the next 3 eye aimings that are sold, and I don't care whether it's the 317, the 617 or 612, you will get a free eye aiming one-shot target, which is a rubber mat that comes in its own carry case, valued at about $50. And that is to help you guys do your one-shot zero. So make sure you get in and take advantage of that. We are still running the 617 on special at $39.95 instead of the $4,200, I believe.
Well, I saw 4,200 and I've heard 4,220, so I'm getting all different prices.
Yeah, well, I'm going to run it the 617. You buy that, it'll be $39.95. So make sure you come in and grab that before I put the prices back up.
And all pricing is going up.
Yeah.
Soon, yeah?
All of it.
So, I don't know what the story is. I'm not going to try and repeat what our wholesalers may or may not be claiming, but most products over the next couple of months are going to be going up of around about 5 to 10%.
Yeah. And work more on the 10% part of it.
But they came down by 5 to 10% a couple of months ago, so...
Yeah, but people aren't going to remember that.
No, people never remember when it comes down.
Only when it goes up.
Yeah. What have you got there, Zaine?
This is my 375.
Oh, cool.
It's my brain gun.
Yeah. It's a fucking anti-aircraft gun.
No, it's a different movie.
Don't care, same director.
Yeah.
This is a Ruger number 1 for those people who haven't played with these things before. It's a single shot, following the block, so the block in the middle here falls down when you open the lever, and then the snap cap pops out. Pop. It's a snap cap that I made out of an actual brass case.
Troy, we've got a couple left, mate, so get on down and grab one.
Does he know that it's 7:15?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
There's a bit of oil in that chain, we might have to wipe it out. But yeah, so you push around in, so you can see straight in through the barrel there. You just push around in there, and these things you can get them in 223, 22 Hornet, 375. You get them in 450, 400, and all that sort of stuff. And then, bang. So these sights are regulated to 100, 200, and 300 metres. Boom. So
We should have put the thermal on that.
this gun was made by a combination of people. I'm pretty sure Brown did most of the gunsmithing side of things. Initials are under there. He might have done the engraving actually, I'm not sure. Jack Miller, Melbourne, I think he did a lot of the gunsmithing side of things, actually, and Brown did the engraving. And then one of the well-known, I think Ross Waghorn or someone,
Waghorn, yeah,
did the stock work on it. So there's a nice silver escutcheon on the bottom here, which I'm polishing up. Beautiful piece of exhibition walnut.
Well,
So, but really nice engraving, colour case hardened trigger, all that sort of jazz.
Does the fore end matches the rear stock too?
Yeah,
Wood.
yeah, it's the same piece of wood.
Same piece of wood, yeah.
Yeah.
Well done, yeah. Because quite often those Rugers have a nice rear stock and the fore end is just plain.
So, and you've got a buffalo on one side and a rhino on the other. So, but beautiful, hand checkered, just a really nicely made gun.
Nearly as good as a couple of those 303s I've got out.
Yeah, that's right. Nearly. Not quite.
Or even that paddle stock.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. On the same sort of level as that paddle stock, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of my most prized possessions, as far as guns go. It's also one of the only ones that's on my personal firearms license.
Don't mention that.
Well, this is sort of thing that I'm probably not going to sell. Heaven burger.
Unless someone offers you good money.
Well, someone offers me silly money for it.
Well-
And then I probably wouldn't.
Come on, let's pack it up.
Yeah.
On we go.
Right, we're done?
Yep.
Thanks very much for joining us Friday Night Live.
375 H&H.
Yeah, 375 H&H.
But thanks very much for joining in.
Apparently it's going to be me and Ross tomorrow, but...
I'm going to the footy, so...
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So, but don't hold your breath because I haven't heard from Ross. Ross wasn't here today.
He messaged me today and said he'll be here tomorrow.
Okay, alright.
So,
So me and Ross tomorrow, 9 till 4. And yeah. You're going to the footy, what? Oh, your young bloke's playing, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, so going to the AFL. Well, not the AFL, the Waffle.
Yeah.
I'm excited,
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
as you can tell.
Yeah.
Go and watch the Women's League. Oh, sorry, AFL, whatever it is.
Should be true.
Yeah, it should be good. I mean,
Do you say shit like that about Lake?
you get a point for having a shot. Don't tackle. Don't have sleeves. There's not really a lot to like about AFL, really, but hey, we're going, so
You got a thing for sleeves, do you?
yeah, well, why wouldn't you?
All the rugby players wear long sleeve jumpers.
Nah, not anymore. They spray paint those on.
Oh, bullshit.
They do. You should see them. I can't even put. I've been able to fit one for years. All right, catch you later.